So in this video, we are going to talk about the case of appending. So when you want to create a file, when you want to open a file which is already existing in your computer without losing its original contents, in that case, you will be using the A mode. So the data will be written towards the end of the current contents. And if the file is already existing, it is not, the contents are not erased. And if it does not exist, then it is created. So you can directly use the append mode instead of write mode. So that basically depends upon the application that you're working on. So the syntax is in, let's say the friends.txt has the names Joe, Rosie, and Rose and Gary. And you are trying to write 3 more names into the file, but you're not trying to remove or delete the existing contents. So in that case, I'm using my file object here. My file is equal to open file name, comma A as my mode, that is append. And then I'm using the write method. So my file dot write mat /n, or I could write it as my file dot write mat plus /n as well. And then write Chris, write Suze, close the file. So once I have closed this file and I've executed the program, if I go and open the file in my current directory, I will be seeing the 6 names instead of the previous 3. So you will be seeing all the updated contents. So that is basically what an append mode is. So in the next topic, we'll be talking about writing and reading the numerical data. So we do know that whatever data that has been retrieved from by using read or read line is converted into a string. But let's say you have the file with all the numerical contents and you want to perform some operations on those, basically the mathematical operations on the data that has been existing on your file. In that case, you cannot perform operations on string data, right? You cannot add string 23 plus string 45. It will give you an variable or the type error that says that you are basically trying to add 2 different types of data, which is not allowed. So that's the reason why you'll have to convert whatever data that you want into numbers by from strings to numbers by using int or float functions. So when you want to convert data, that is basically when you are trying to write the numbers into the file. So int and float functions are used when you are trying to read the contents from the file, which are basically strings, and you are converting the strings to the numerical data. That is for the reading part. But when you are writing the numerical data into a file, you must always convert the numerical data into string by using the str function. That is important because text files or files in this case will only accept string data. As you cannot save any other numerical data, you must convert you must convert the numerical data into a string data by using the str function. So let's see how that looks like. So in this example, I'm writing 3 different numbers into a file. So I'm basically first creating my file object, that is out file, as I'm expecting to see an new output file. So out file is equal to open numbers or the file name numbers.txt, comma write mode. That is basically if this file is not existing in the computer, it will now create it for you. And if this file is already existing on your computer, it will delete all the original contents of this numbers.txt file. So I'm asking the user to enter 3 different numbers, and we don't know how to get the data from the user. If it is numbers, then we are definitely making sure that we are converting that into either integers or floating point by using int or float right before the input function. And next, we are writing that data into the file. So you have file object dot write. Here, when you are writing the numerical data, you are converting that into the string. So string of num1 plus /n. So in this case, you are basically converting the numerical data into a string, concatenation operator, and then adding a new line as well. That is because with write, you must add a new line if you don't want to see all the information in one single line. We have already discussed that. So outfile.write str num2 plus /n, outfile.write str num3 plus /n. Once it is done, you can close the file and you can just have a statement that is data is being written into the file. So once you open the file, the numbers.txt in your existing folder, you will see the numbers 22, 14, minus 99. Okay, so now this is for the writing part. Now let's read the same data from our file. So we do know that we have 3 lines of data, right? And also notice that the examples that we have looked till now, we know the contents of the file. So we do know the friends' names. We do know the philosophers' names in the philosophers.txt, like how many lines of data is there in our file. So in this case as well, we do know that numbers.txt has 3 lines of data. So that's the reason why I have num1, num2, num3 as my variables. And then I'm reading the files, that is infile.readline, that is file object.readline method. And this will return the first line from our file, which is in the string format. So I'm converting that back to an integer by using int function. If I want to convert that into a floating point, I can always use float and then open parenthesis in file.readline. Close, and I'm trying to add the contents from that I've retrieved from the file. So I'm creating a new variable, that is total is equal to num1 plus num2 plus num3. And then just print the numbers and print their total. So this will be the output from this operation. So for now, like whatever we have seen the data from the files in limited quantities. So we do know that we only had like 3 numbers in the numbers.txt, 3 names in philosophers.txt. We do know the fixed number of data from the file. But what if you don't know the total number of contents from that file? And if you want to read the contents from a file for which you do not know the number of lines or the type of contents that are existing in your file. In that case, we will be using loops. So in our next video, we'll be talking about how to use loops to process the files.